Perhaps you have noticed all of the glorious golden names on my workbench, and yes, anybody who gets in on a $5 or more tier on my Patreon gets their name literally put on my workbench for all to see. A majority of my videos are of the workbench, a majority of my live streams are on the workbench, so it's a brilliant way to get your name out there and, you know that, hey, I support Walcom S7's channel and everything, like, I don't know, Super Vaporeon, Squanchy, Trez Claremont, and Aaron Chua. I probably pronounced the number of those wrong, but you get the idea. $5 or more a month on my Patreon. These people are all in gold. They get that because they got in on the first month, and that was my special to them. Everybody after them will be in black vinyl, and truth be told, the black vinyl is actually going to stand out more because there's so many flippin' gold names. So if you want to get in and claim your spot on my workbench, $5 a month or more on my Patreon, check out the link in the description or in the pinned comment or in the card in the top right corner. Now onto the video. Truth be told, I really like slingshots. I don't know what it is about them, but when I, kind of like turned into like an adult officially anyway, I'm still a man-child, I picked one up because they seemed really interesting. I bought myself like the nicest one I could get my hands on, and I'm now noticing this one is going to break on me. That's really gonna put a damper on this video. Hopefully I'll get this video done before it actually breaks on me, but this is a cheap one I bought off Gearbest in my hopes of finding like a decent little slingshot, and it looks really nice and fancy until you realize this is like hard plastic and it's made of the cheapest materials ever. But surprisingly enough, I forgot I even got this, and this little nice pouch thing, which is kind of cool because it has a hole down here with a magnet so you can put some like shot in there and easily take it out, and that would be awesome for Slingshot, having all one little complete package that was shoved underneath my desk for however long. But I also remember that I filled it up with rival rounds because a long time ago there was a post that went around about how you can fire rival rounds out of a slingshot. I believe Drac did a video on this as well, and I've always kind of wanted to experiment with that because why not, right? I mean, rival slingshot, it could be good, who knows, but what's the point? We got all these blasters and everything. Well, that was my thought. The more I actually look into this, even this cheap, almost broken slingshot that's probably going to hurt me, this thing is surprisingly effective. In fact, it might be the best single-shot rival blaster you can get your hands on and costs you basically no money whatsoever. Because even with a much nicer-looking slingshot than this, and with this exact same pouch by the looks of it, I saw it on Amazon for like 15 bucks. I will link to that down in the description below, and I have no idea how exactly that one will work, but the idea is still there. And I think it's time we directly compare what a slingshot rival blaster is capable of compared to, like, a normal rival blaster and even a modified one. I'll get the takedown, and I'll find myself another, single-shot rival blaster. We'll see how they do, because from what I've seen so far, this has been pretty exciting. I'm also going to fire Ultra out of it, because why not? I don't think anybody's done that, and who knows, it might be surprisingly effective.
Alright, so I've killed so many single-shot rival blasters recently. I don't have a Knockout, I don't have a Kronos, I don't have a Heracles, I have nothing. That this is the closest thing I can find to a stock rival single-shot blaster. So, let's see how this does, because there are no performance modifications done. It is just a standard double Liberator. And it's not bad. They're kind of curving down a little bit. What is going on there? But am I even going to get a chance to test this out? What is going on here? Come on. Triple shot. Why is it suddenly not catching? There must be something that's not resetting, right? Something must have dried out. That was an absolutely miserable failure. That wasn't even quite rival standard range. It's usually a little bit forward, almost near that planter box. I guess it doesn't really matter though, because now we're going to use the modified takedown, which should hit considerably harder. This thing is an absolute monster. And yeah, it basically just sends it into oblivion with a very heavy left-hand curve, I guess. Ooh, there we go. This thing would clear the property if I angled it. Wow. Some of that, it's a tiny pump-action rival sniper. surprising amount of those are going straight. I think this is the last round. Well, that was incredibly disappointing. I don't know what happened there, but hey! At least now we can move on to the main star of the show before it probably snaps in several places on me, because this is a very old band at this point. It's got to be over 2 years old, and it was like a $4 slingshot when I bought it. But let's see exactly how well it works with Rival. Now, you should know how a slingshot works, but it's got a pouch back here. You put whatever you're going to fire out of it, kind of squeeze it back, and you're going to want to use the top rung right there generally to aim. And that was me barely pulling it back. And there's something I do want to point out, is that that traveled really, really straight. There's no hop up, obviously. Now, after a certain bit, yeah, that does happen. Again, cheap slingshot with a pretty worn band, but it is surprising how well that works. That flew straight as an arrow, which ironically, if you have the proper setup, you can fire an arrow out of a slingshot, but that is insane. That is as good as my totally modified takedown, if not better, because it's more accurate. There is a Goldilocks ratio here. If you're a little too powerful, it does seem to curve off, but it's still very reasonable. And there's that, yeah, now it's probably not going to work. I'm pretty glad I got it as far as I did before that happened. Son of a dickens. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to give it one more shot, because that was working so flippin' well. I had a replacement band, but I think I threw it away when I was cleaning, not even paying attention to it. I don't think this is going to work at all. Now it's now curving really heavily. And it could be said there are different bands that will do different things. I would assume maybe the triple band might be a bit better because there's more support on it, or a wider band. Most slingshots are usually just one of these, so... Well, that's disappointing because I wanted to fire more, but you get the idea there. I do want to see... It's broken now, which is really disappointing. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I do want to see if it's possible this thing will fire standard darts at all. It shouldn't work well, but you never know. There we go, kind of a temporary fix. Let's see if that actually fires Rival at all. That's not optimal, but it might work. Yeah, it does work. Okay, so let's see how a short dart will do. This should not work very well at all, but let's see if we can't give it a shot. Yeah, it just hit my hand and that kind of hurt. So next up, let's try a full-length dart, which again should not work based off the principle that it is a foam dart and there's no support or anything for it, and usually you need a thing called a whisker biscuit in order to fire an arrow, because there's nothing guiding this. But yep, doesn't work at all. Now I know this probably won't work at all either, but let's give it a shot, because I've been more or less surprised by Ultra, what it does when it wants to do it. Let's see if we can't actually shoot Ultra, and it might be stupidly powerful and really accurate and blow us all away. Nope, it absolutely sucked, but it did go forward, which is better than what I could say for the other darts. Well, I'm going to give one more shot with the Rival and see if we can't get something going, because I did kind of fix it, it seems. I don't know if I can do an accuracy test with this now, because it is kind of broken, but it's working. That's amazing. Surprisingly effective.
Well, there are a couple of things to talk about in our conclusion. Yes, this is extremely powerful. It is also rather accurate for a Rival thing. Accuracy is gonna obviously differ between slingshots, band setups, the user, but it does seem like even without the hop-up, these things work really good, which I'm quite astounded by, to be perfectly honest, and it is completely war-worthy. If you wanted to be the Rival sniper, this might be your setup. You may have to become Usopp in order to take people out with single-shot Rival at an extreme distance. And even for just some light, like, harassing, like, suppression, not bad at all. It's a really effective tool. I was not expecting that. And this pouch is awesome because not only does it hold your tiny slingshot in a nice place and go on your belt or whatnot, but it holds, you know, a couple dozen rival rounds at the same time, which makes me happy. And this would be a decent setup to have as a sidearm for a war. But it is something to be noted that these are considered weapons. I don't know if everybody's going to agree with that one, but I do believe if I were to take this out in public, I mean, there would be some frowny faces going on, and in a public war, it's probably not a great idea to have something like this, but in any kind of private war on private property and stuff like that, this would be effective. So don't be planning on taking something like this to a major event, but if there's a war near you where it's not on public property, something like this would be amazingly effective, and I can highly recommend it, especially when the setup is so cheap. I mean, this was a $5 slingshot, I kid you not, and this pouch was another $5, and even a much better looking slingshot in what looks to be the same pouch on Amazon right now, Amazon Prime, is like $15-16. So it is exceedingly affordable, even when you compare it to a knockout or a takedown, and those usually require some form of modification to get as good. I do really like a stock knockout as a single shot blaster. This is most likely faster and more accurate though, which is kind of crazy, plus it's going to hit way harder. It was able to keep up with my 160 FPS takedown with no modifications whatsoever. It's just a standard stock, crazy, cheap slingshot, and that is really cool. That is absolutely awesome and something I can definitely recommend you check out if it's applicable to your nerfing situation. But let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. If you have any other concerns or any other ideas for a cheapo slingshot like this, I'd love to know. It's not something that I often get to cross-compatible with in my entire hobby because I really do like slingshots and I need to get myself a much better one. But of course, I'm Walcom S7. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to check out my Patreon if that interests you and you want to support this channel going forward. But of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different video.
Can't you see I'm blazing? Still my heart is blazing. If the words kill me, I don't